Hello everybody, I'm Kelly from Bespoke Creative Design. I hope you're all well. For those of you who have not seen one of the videos before, I've been trying to release a crafting video each week during lockdown to try and relieve some of the boredom associated with being locked inside. I also did some workshops over the October sort of Halloween half term with some crafting ideas on there as well, which can be adapted. They don't all have to be Halloween themed. If you want to catch up with any of those or any of the previous videos that I've made, please go to www.bespokecreativedesign.co.uk. That's my website and they're all loaded on there. Alternatively, I've been reliably informed by my daughter that I have a YouTube channel. Who knew? Called Bespoke Creative Design, and all these videos will be uploaded, I'm assured, onto there. So today, the idea of the workshops is to use materials that can be found around the home that don't cost an awful lot of money, to save you traipsing out to these expensive arts and craft shops. And believe me, I know they can be pricey. So yeah, today's art session, let's call it, all you really need is a toilet tube holder, toilet roll holder, or kitchen roll holder, or even just some card wrapped up into a tube will do you fine. And we're going to make these puppets here. This is a fox puppet. Excuse the green paws, the green feet. I looked around for some white lids. They're just plastic lids. Didn't have any, so I had to sort of whiten these very quickly just before making the video. And the idea is you move this wooden puppet sticks at the top and he moves his legs up and down. You don't have to keep it to a fox theme. Let me put him under here because the strings get tangled up, that's all. Pop him in there. You can use any animal really that you wanted to. You could have a bunny, you could have a frog, you could have, getting into the swing of Christmas, you could have like a Rudolph with a bobble nose or something similar. You could even have a Father Christmas if you wanted to. Let your imagination run wild. So I'm going to use the demonstration purposes, the fox idea, but it's the same method, whatever character you decide to make. So first things first, you need yourself a tube, whichever tube you've got around the home. Like I say, you can just roll up some cardboard if you wanted to, use a kitchen roll holder or any sort of tube insert, and you can paint the tube whichever colour. I'm doing a fox, so I'm going to go for an orange, whichever colour you want your animal to be. If you're doing a frog, you might go for green, for example, or the rabbit, you could just use white A4 paper. If you haven't got any paint, yes, you can use paper, you could use coloured card, you could use coloured plastic, carrier bags, Sainsbury's, turned inside out, and on the non-printed side you could use that to wrap around to colour in the tube. Once you've got your tube, I'm going to quickly cover mine with some paper, and just for the ease of the demonstration I've stuck on some double-sided tape, which I shall get rid of very quickly. Right, so you're going to wrap up or colour your tube. There we go. Let's quickly wrap mine around. Hope I've lined it up properly. Like so. If you're sad like me, you'll know the depth of the tube is 10 centimetres. So my strip of paper was 10 centimetres wide, and it can be any length that gets you all the way around the tube. You can wrap it around a few times if you want to, and then just secure it either with some Pritt stick or, as I've used, double-sided tape down the back. And that is the body of your fox already completed. We're going to come back and address the arm and leg issue, but we're just going to make the features now that go on the fox to make the fox's face and his brushed tail. So for the fox's face, I've taken, what I should say is I'm going to give you the dimensions for the fox's face that I have here and instructions on how to draw that. However, if you really panic over drawing, you can easily go to Google and download like a picture of a fox or a frog or whatever you wanted to, and just cut that out and stick it on the tube. So don't stress if drawing is not your bag. If it's not your thing, that's fine. So if you want to learn how to make the one that I've just demonstrated, held up, I've got a piece of orange card here of paper, 15 centimetres long by 11 centimetres deep. So 15 by 11, and you fold it in half. Make sure you're aware of where your creased edge is, because basically we're going to draw a shape that's symmetrical, so when we open it out we've got our fox's head there. Now I hate craft demonstrations or anything like that where they just say, okay, now draw yourself a fox's head, but don't give you any instructions. If you don't know how to do it, that's a pretty tall order. So I will try and give some instructions as best I can without being too technical. So my folded piece of card, which as I said was 15 by 11, I've measured in from the folded edge out. This is 3 centimetres, and I'm going to put a mark there across the top edge. You can see that's 3 centimetres there. And from that same corner down, I have measured, she says, I think it's 2.5, let me check. Yeah, 2.5 centimetres down to there where I make a mark. So 3 at the top, 2.5 down. You can see I've penciled in my lines already, but I'm going to go over them with instructions with a black pen so you can see. So the first job is to make a swoop from your folded edge up to your guide point there at the top. You can see where I'm going to go, like a big swoop up, like so, like a big smiley face, like that. And then, so I know how wide to make all the other points of the fox's face, I've drawn a line from my 3 centimetre mark right the way down, almost touching the corner there of my card. You can draw it straight to the corner, so that all my points are going to come out no further than this guideline, which I will dot in for you so you can see where I'm heading for. If I just dot that line in, that's my guideline, like so, from the 3 centimetre mark all the way down to the corner on the non-folded side. So then we're simply going to draw a scoop from our first smile underneath to make the fox's ears, like so. That's a happy smile, if you like. Now we're going to do 2 small and then slightly larger sad smiles. There's my sad face, and underneath, that's the first one, and then my sad face, and then I'm going to come back round underneath, and the measurement that I'm aiming for, I've measured up from the bottom corner there up and to that mark here. That's 1.5 centimetres up, and I'm going to swoop down towards that in that kind of shape. Now, you don't have to be exact with that. If you can get roughly that sort of shape, you'll get a fox's face come out of it. I'm quickly going to cut this out like so. I'll quickly zoom round, you take your time, like this, and that second scoop, and the third one, and the final line, like so. And then if I open up my fox's face, there is the shape that we're going to decorate to turn into our fox. So the next thing you can see, I've got on the bottom of my fox's face here like this white flash that runs across the bottom of his chin and his whiskers. Now you can either paint that in if you want to, or I'll use colour pencil. I've used card, and just to show you how you can get an accurate shape across the bottom there, what you need to do is put your fox's face on to a piece of white card, and you're going to use this bottom line only here as a stencil. Okay, so I'm going to quickly draw around that. I'll use a black felt tip again so you can see it, even though it's marking the orange card, like so. I'll move that away, and you've got an exact scoop of the fox's face above. And then all you need to do is decide how wide you want that flash to be, and you're kind of making, do you remember you used to draw birds at school? Or if you still draw birds like it, my husband does, like that M shape. That's a kind of scoop that you want to go across the top. And then when you cut that out, it will look like this, kind of like one of those birds, or turn it up the other way around, a moustache. And that flash will fit exactly onto the bottom of your fox's face, like so. I'll hold it up properly for you to see. There, like that. Then what you need to do is cut yourself a black nose out, as I have here, or you could use a black button or a black pom-pom or whatever you want to do, and you stick your fox's nose on in the middle, and then you need to give your Mr. Fox some eyes. I had, and I've always had, from Craft Kits, a big box of googly eyes. If you haven't got any googly eyes, you could just dot on some eyes with a felt tip pen. You could get your fingers in some paint and do some fingerprint eyes if you wanted to. You could cut out some from cardboard, whichever way works for you. And that will end up looking like this. So that will be your fox's face complete. Now in the same way, you need to cut yourself out a fox's tail. I think they're called a brush, don't hold me to that. And to give you an idea of size comparison, it's roughly the same height as a fox's head, and it's about half of the width of his head. So it's pretty much like a leaf shape, really. And then again, I've just put the white flash on the tip of his tail there, like so. So that's a quite easy shape. These two are your components or your parts that finish off your body. And I know that you'll be desperate at this point to fix these on and make him look like a fox. However, they will get in the way for the next part. So pop your head and your tail to one side while we sort out the arms and the legs. Now I can see, I wonder if the camera can pick it up, I want this to be the back of my puppet because there's a seam that runs down the back. That's just me being fussy, but go with me on it. So that's going to be the back of my puppet. What I want to have are 2 armholes coming out of the middle of my toilet roll holder and 2 leg holes coming out of each side. So the way to do that, and please, if you're a young person, a little person, can you get an adult to help with this part, because it starts off with pointy things. I've got a drawing tack here, a drawing pin, and halfway up, if I mark it with a pen so you can see where I'm heading for, turn that so halfway up the tube I've made a mark, which I'm going to make an armhole, and then just by the edge, probably about a centimetre up from the edge, I've made a leg hole. So you pierce that with your drawing pin to start off with. Don't, as you're pushing it through, push it into your fingers, please. That's the armhole done. And now I'm going to do the leg hole. Pop that drawing pin through the tube. You can see what I'm doing there. And pull it out. Then I need to make that hole a little bigger. So you could use, or an adult could use, a wooden skewer that you might have, maybe from summer barbecues. You could use a screwdriver, a Bradle. I'm going to look very unsafe. Kids, don't copy me. I'm going to use my large scissors. I've got pointy ends. And I'm just going to push my scissors into that pilot hole that I made with a drawing pin. Give it a twist, twist, twist. I'm going very slowly because I don't want to pierce my fingers at this stage. There we go. There's one hole. Done. I've just made that one slightly larger, you can see. And the leg hole, let me turn it round. There we go. I twist my scissors around to make the leg hole. Now you're going to do it exactly the same, arm and leg hole, on the opposite side of your puppet. If I show you, I'll mark it again. You can measure it up if you want it to be exact. Oh, bother. Doesn't matter. So you'll have holes this side, and if I could be bothered to do it and bore you all with it, you'd have holes on the opposite side. So now all we need to do is to add the arms and the legs. I'm going to use some of this parcel string. You can use whatever you've got at home. You might have wool, you might have some thick cotton, you might have some embroidery thread, anything like that. And the idea is to go and thread through the hole from the outside of the tube and in. You'll see why. So I pass my thread through and grab it and pull it up like so. Here it comes up the middle of the tube. What I want to do with this end that I've just pulled through the tube is double knot it. Once and twice. My scouting skills coming in handy here. I tend to, just because I'm fussy, trim off any ends that I don't want, like that. And then you pull the string through, back through the tube, and it shouldn't be able to come out now because we've knotted it within the tube there. And I haven't measured the length of the arms yet. I'm going to decide that in a little while, but I'm just going to cut off a length for now, and then we'll trim that up and give that a bit of a haircut in a while and get it to the right length. Then you have to do the same for the leg. So from the outside into the tube, push the string through, here it comes, like so. Again, double knot the end so it can't come loose. 1 and 2, and then you pull it back through the tube so it's secured inside, and again you decide the length that you want the legs to be. Give it a chop. So you'll do that on both sides through both holes, so 4 holes, 2 arms, 2 legs. Then you decide the length of the arm that you want it to be. Now I'm going to show you the puppet because I don't need to teach you this part, it's dead easy. You can cut the length of the arms to the length that you want them to be, and simply, if I turn this one round, tie a knot at the end of that string. I don't know if you can see that because of the shadow. Let me find a better angle. There. If I turn that hand around, you can see I've just got a knot at the end. I like to put a little paw over the top of the knot like that, but you can either leave it with a knot or you can put a little circle of card or colour where you want the arms to be and the hands to be, or paws to be, whatever animal you're making. Now the same applies to the legs, so you pop this back with the arms finished. When it comes to the legs, you need 2 bottle caps, of which you do exactly the same thing. You take your pin and push it through the plastic, like so. It's really thin plastic, it's really easy to do, but please, please, please get an adult to do that. And then once again, you make that hole slightly bigger. I'm doing mine with a pair of scissors. Like so. So you end up with a hole in the middle of your 2 plastic lids. Then, imagining that my arm is now finished, I'm just demonstrating the leg. You pop your foot, so cap side down like this, there's it, and cap side down onto the table. You pull the string through the hole, tie another double knot, or you can secure it with sellotape if you're not very good at knot tying, or a glue gun if you've got an adult with you and you can use a glue gun. That works brilliantly and is instant. Let me chop that last bit off. If I hold that up, then move his arm out of the way. When you slide his foot down, it will catch on the knot. Let me tip the camera down. On the knot at the bottom and give him a foot at the bottom of that string. And let me tilt the camera back up again. I'll pop that over there. So when you've done that, you'll have arms and legs attached with the caps at the bottom for his feet. Then it's up to you to stick on his head onto the tube, and then at the back, if you put a blob of glue on the good side of your fox's tail and stick it to the back of the tube like so, so it kind of sticks out the side. If I turn this round, like that, you can see. And that, at that stage, is your fox complete. Now you've got a choice here. I've got fox's tails everywhere. You can either think, right, I've had enough of that, I'm just going to add a loop of string or wool to the top of his head and hang him up just like that. I don't want to make the puppet. The reason I say that is the puppet is quite tricky to do if you're doing this on your own. What I need to do is get my daughter in to hold up this contraption that I've made at the top of the puppet in order to tie these strings to it. It's not a difficult process, but it is fiddly, and I will explain how we're going to do that. So if you don't want to make the puppet, that's the end of the make. Just add a loop of, I don't know, string or something to his head and hang him up on the wall, or you could just sit him like that on a mantelpiece or something like that. However, what is that flying in my studio? If you want to make the cross top for this puppet, the way you do it is this. I had some garden canes. I like to give you options, and I've secured them in a cross, as you can see, just using some little teeny tiny cable ties that I happen to have. You could wrap it round with wool, you could put a blob of hot glue gun there, you could use PVA, but you'd have to leave it overnight to dry, you could use sellotape, anything that secures it in that cross shape. If you haven't got any garden cane, I understand why you wouldn't. You might, as I said earlier, you might have some skewers left over from the summer barbecues, in which case just chop those points off so they don't cause any problems. And again, you would turn that into the cross shape that's going to make our puppet controls. And if you haven't got anything like that at all, what you can do, and I've done with this piece here, is just roll up really tightly some white A4 paper, or you could even use newspaper. And when it's rolled, it becomes really rigid and firm. So you could have 2 of those making your cross shape to control your puppet. So there's options there. Don't panic if you haven't got any of the canes or anything like that. Now, I'm not going to show you making it and attaching it. I'm going to tell you how I did it. So if I hold him up, there's my cross. Now, if I hold this to the camera, I very simply glued, and that was simple. Can you see about 5 centimetres up from the centre of the cross there? I've glue gunned, or you can tie round or sellotape on 4 lengths of, I've used fishing wire. I can think of the words then, which isn't great for a demonstration because it's practically invisible. So sorry about that. But you might have wool or you might have cotton that you can use. So first of all, there's your cross. You attach 4 lengths of fishing wire down. You haven't attached the animal to the bottom of it at all yet. Now to describe it, we've got the front prong. So if I turn my fox to face me, I'll have a prong facing me, a prong going to the back, a prong off to the left and a prong off to the right. Hope that makes sense. So front, back, what will be the left and the right, and they're all attached 5 centimetres from the middle there. Now then, the front wire, the one that's facing you, runs all the way down and attaches to the back of the fox's head. I'll turn it around. It attaches there. Can you see that blob of glue? That's the front wire. The back wire, the one coming off of this prong here at the back, runs all the way down and attaches inside the back of the tube where the fox's spine would start, in here at the back. And very simply, the left and the right sticks or prongs, whatever we called them, attach to the outside of the foot there. It runs down and attaches with a bit of glue or sellotape to his foot on each side, on the left and on the right. You can see, I'll show you the blob of glue there on the side of the lid. So when that all sets, or when you've got your sellotape all stuck, you'll be able to move his legs, his feet. Let me move this up and down like that. That tickles me, I don't know why. So it looks like he's walking along. And that pretty much is your fox puppet made. Like I say, let me move him down. You can turn your puppet into any animal or being that you want. You can have aliens, Father Christmases, angels, animals like frogs, rabbits, Rudolph, there they all are, an array of animals. There's a fox from earlier. So there, that's a very, very cheap and easy puppet make for you to have a go at home. I hope you're all keeping well. Like I say, if you want to catch up on any of the videos that I've made, they can be found on my website, which is www.Bespoke Creative Design, or catch me on YouTube, woohoo, get me, on Bespoke Creative Design. In the meantime, guys, I hope to see you all next week. Take care, stay safe. Bye now.